Hi guys, part 6 and Benny here. This part is about the new P&C president elected on the 3rd of August 2023 and who turned out to be the worst president ever elected for the P&C Association of our highly recommended school. The following parts of this podcast will prove this. Everything said on this podcast is based on facts, evidence, and our honest opinion. Now, I am reading this, so bear with me. So, what the president cannot do, let's just go over this quickly. Unilateral decisions. The president is not empowered to make decisions independently on behalf of the P&C. Represent personal views. The president must not present their personal opinions as the views of the entire association. Overrule the P&C committee. The president cannot make a decision that should have been debated and voted on by the general committee. You will see that when Denny became president, she did not care about what she could and could not do, or what the rules and regulations were, even though those rules were good enough for everyone else to follow. Denny was way over these rules and regulations. They didn't apply to her. Not one. Denny did whatever she wanted without a care. She never gave a shit about the kids. It was all about her and trying to make herself look good with taking control over others. She made decisions by herself as if she was some big CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. Everyone had to bow to her, or you would be suspended. Let's quickly just go over the vice president's roles one more time. The role of the vice president is but not limited to acts as second in command, providing support to the president, chairs meetings when the president is unavailable, taking specific responsibilities as needed. Now, what the vice president cannot do? Well, it's the same as the president's role. You will learn about Craig in this first chapter, another one wrapped around Denny's finger. When Craig was elected as vice president, he also did not care about what he could and could not do, or give a shit about the school or kids. He bowed to his leader, no questions asked. On the morning of the 3rd of August, Denny had reached out to a business called Owner Coffee to see what deals she could get in trying to get a coffee machine for the canteen for the teachers. So that will be my first picture. Alright, so so I'm not going to read a lot of these things. I'm just going to show the picture. If you want to read them, go ahead. She plans all this shit. Oh, sorry. Do you think she followed up by it? You guessed it, a big fat no. She plans all this shit. She does nothing about it, just like she did with Tracy and shopping around. Denny is all talk and no action ever, unless it benefits her own needs. So let's talk about how Denny sneaked away into the president's job. Even though she had the treasurer's job already, I guess there was no power in holding that position, and got her mates to vote her in to win. In our opinion, Denny thrives off the power she believes the president role has. If she could go higher, there would be no doubt she would be there bullshitting about everyone in queue to make her stand out as the best. She's the type of person you would call a snake, and what more fitting word it was and still is for her. On the 3rd of August, the P&C general meeting takes place. So during this meeting, Shazma resigns as president, and the vice president Gabby also resigns from her position, except Shazma does not attend the meeting. So all that's left is the treasurer, Denny, the secretary, me. At the meeting, nominations were called for the president's position. Ian puts his hand up for the position, but so does Denny. It was a tied vote. Ian, being the type of person he is, told Denny she could be the president and he would take the vice president's role. She was our friend at the time, well, so we thought. Now, seeing Danny is now president, she had to resign from treasurer. And that treasurer's position should have also been put up for nominations as at this meeting. This never happened, and later in this podcast you'll understand why. At this point in time, myself and Ian did not know much about the rules of the P&C, but if you research what should be done, you will find the information without problems. Unfortunately, we found out all of this when it was way too late. Anyway, the research states a P&C, a P&C, Parents and Citizens Association, office bearers must resign from their current position before accepting a new office bearer position within the same association. This ensures a clear separation and avoids potential conflicts of interest. The resignation should be submitted in writing to the appropriate people, e.g. secretary or president. Hold one position. A person can only hold one specific office bearer role, such as president, secretary, or treasurer, at a time. Resignation required. To move from office bearer position to another, a person must resign from their current role before being nominated or elected into the new one. Denny never sent in a letter of resignation to the P&C secretary before nominating herself for president. As you will come to learn, there was only one rule, top secret Denny's rule, and no other rules or regulations existed. She was president. She could now officially write up her own rules, but her rules were wrong. And we reached out to the Federation for information to correct Denny, but Denny wouldn't accept any of these rules the Federation was sending us as a guidance. With Ian allowing Denny to take the president's role, didn't realise what damage Denny was going to do to not only the P&C Association, but to the school name and the community as well. What a huge mistake this turned out to be. We wished we had a crystal ball to foresee the future. So now Denny is holding the positions of president and treasurer. By rights, Denny should not have put her hand up for the president position in the first place. She also should have put position of the treasurer up for nomination after taking president's role. But top secret Denny did not do this because she did not want to pay the canteen manager her long service leave, as all those secrets she was hiding from all P&C members, including the executives, would all come out. Yes, that's right, guys. Nobody knew Denny was refusing to pay Tracy her long service leave. That was why she wasn't handing over the treasurer's job to anyone, as she didn't want the new treasurer doing the job properly and handing out Tracy's long service leave, or to pay super, or to hand out income statements. Denny wasn't doing it, so why should someone else take over and put Denny to shame? Tracy was never to receive her entitlements, and Denny tried everything in her power to stop it from happening. Becoming president was the key. We are going to expose everything Denny did. One by one, these secrets of hers are coming out. So now there are 3 executives only, instead of 5 of us. There is Denny, who is now both president and treasurer, Ian, which took the vice president's job, and myself still as secretary. In this P&C general meeting, subcommittee positions were also filled, with Ian and Craig both joining the canteen subcommittee, and Michael, aka Mr. Wonderful by some and Mr. Sleazy by others, has now joined the subcommittees. For the next week, no issues arise. We just decided to find ways to start raising money for the kids, as this is what we were there for. Ian went to our local Woolworths and talked to the manager about having a barbecue outside the store. We got the go-ahead for this without any problem. Denny never went through with it. Another wasted opportunity by Denny. The executives and canteen subcommittees decided to change the birthday bucket for the kids of the school to something more fun and affordable. The 11th of August, which was our child's birthday, we did it for his birthday, being the birthday bucket and ice cream, cake and fairy bread, dressed as clowns and sung happy birthday to him with the whole class. The kids loved it. The birthday bucket was also talked about in part 5. Michael has just joined the events subcommittee, and now suddenly the canteen and subcommittees are a joint chat. They have been separated all this time without any issues, but now they're joined. Michael became an issue. If Michael stayed out of canteen business, there wouldn't have been so many problems. As now, Michael has a problem. He says just an observation that the canteen was a little crowded on Friday. So let's go to our pick here. Alright, so just an observation, use here. Not sure how he can observe when he's never in the canteen. His lazy wife was though. And why is Michael even commenting about the canteen when it has nothing to do with it? He was only just joining the event committee, so the canteen is not his business. Now we have Denny questioning how many volunteers are in the canteen. Of course, on the next one. Alright, so she is never in the canteen either. She's just going by what her lovely Mick has said. So who's telling stories? Lazy Ellie is, that's who. So Lazy Ellie is also Michael's wife, the one who stresses Kayla out, as it was told in part 5. In pick 2A, okay, is this one still? No, this one, let me just pull it down so I can show you. 2 people serve, 3 run around getting orders done. It works, and we get it all done, and it's perfect, especially when there's a big queue. All right, next pick. All right, I said here, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to show you yet. Maybe. Anyway, I said the stupid team is annoying me at the moment. LOL. And I'm thinking Ellie is talking to Michael about having too many in canteen. I told them it's up to you. No issues with us. What you want is your choice, not for them to say or who can help or not. If having us is too much, just let us know. We are easy, as you know, and we certainly don't take it to heart. So this was a message to Kayla, as she was now boss of the canteen. She says, I literally just told Denny the same thing. You know, she said it too. She said it to Denny. She told Denny, obviously, Lazy Ellie is making up all these stories and whatnot. Anyway, so Lazy Ellie only volunteered once every 2 weeks. Am I at the right picture? Yep. Once every 2 weeks on a Friday. We always asked Kayla why she never spoke up and told Lazy Ellie to put her damn phone down and help sort the kids. Guess Kayla's balls are in Lazy Ellie's pockets every time she arrived. They were in Denny's every other day of the week. I also suggested to Denny to come and volunteer in the canteen on a Friday to find out and not only see how busy, but also see Lazy Ellie in action. Again, she never did. And she never told her lovely Michael to stay in his own lane either. So you will see that Denny is now always on Mick's side, discussing executive things with him and not us. Then things get upset with us because we ask questions on what the plans are to be insulted by Michael in saying things were talked about all week. This may have been discussed, they may have been discussing the plans together, which made things even worse as Michael isn't even an executive. He's just a helper with the events only. The other executives were left in the dark, always when they were both together. The executives' chat no longer existed. It turned into Team Denny and Michael. That's it. Everyone else didn't exist when Sleazy Michael was in Denny's bubble. As for the canteen, rather than Denny finding out for herself or listening to us, as we were in the canteen every day volunteering. Let me go over to the next picture. Alright. I had to explain to Denny how the volunteers worked. So if Denny ever volunteered, she would know. So we had one doing noodles. Lazy Ellie was supposed to be doing pizza if she ever got off her damn phone. Hubby did the milkshakes, and me and Kayla did the ice blocks, serving the kids with the 2 lots of windows. So in the middle of August, Denny, Ian and myself had a discussion in the school library with Craig about Craig joining the executive as second vice president. Not many parents really wanted to join the P&C. Craig said okay, but as more in the background, so Denny was happy to have him join to to help her out. But we had to wait till the next meeting. Okay, next pick. Let's see what this one is. Alright, Denny messages Kayla to see if there's any problems with the suppliers, as she says all invoices were paid. But I told Denny the problem was with the Coles card. The card was being declined, just like it always did with Tracy when she tried to shop. So I guess not all invoices were paid. Denny then says, I think the suggestion of a Visa card would be the preferred method, as it says down here. I said, we told you that weeks ago, but you said give it a month. She's needing one now, though. Otherwise, please pay the Coles card so she can shop. All right. Of course, lovely, sleazy Mick, or Michael, whatever you want to call it, pipes up. And he says, for some reason, he says, this appears to be the canteen related. Let's allow the canteen manager to communicate with the treasurer to get any needed purchases, though. Or through, sorry. Wouldn't you agree, Benny? Again, his 5 cents is not needed, but he was wrong. He was definitely wrong. It's telling me to go to the next pick. It was my business. Being an executive was part of my job, right? Well, you guys should know that anyway. But this issue was discussed at the P&C meeting and approved for purchase. So Ian said, is it possible we can organise a Visa card for Kayla so it's ready for term 4? Denny replied with, hi Ian, this was discussed at the P&C meeting by the president and agreed upon. Apologies if you missed this. Not sure if Denny has an issue reading. Let me just see if I can get these, make sure it's all here. Yeah, so not sure if she's got a problem with reading, but Ian asked if it can be organised by term 4, not if it was approved. It's a total different thing. It was discussed by the committee, not just the president, as Denny says. It was the committee's decision. Father's Day was fast approaching and things needed to be organised. So towards the end of August, there was a volunteer roster done for the canteen, Father's Day barbecue. So this was talked about in part 5 as well. Let's just revisit the roster just for a little. Kayla came up with the roster, all right? So let's have a look at the roster. I didn't get to show it last. This was Kayla's roster, all right? She said Kayla came up with the roster and sent it out to Denny. Denny then thanks Kayla for the roster and asks, considering it's going to be a full-on day for the canteen, would it be worth possibly putting Ellie off the store and bringing her into the canteen, as she has extensive experience? Okay, next picture. I believe it's probably where she says, oh yes, so this is where she says it. Okay, so let's talk about this extensive experience at the canteen. She's never volunteered when Tracy was manager, and it's only been a month since Kayla took over. So she has volunteered in this canteen a whopping 2 times. Right. So now Denny sends out a new roster and Ellie is off the store and in canteen, but only for 3 hours. Alright, so new roster. Been done. There it is. Comments here. So Denny then says, been a slight amendment to the roster. We need to ensure those volunteers, which are consistent volunteers for the canteen, are to be associated with the canteen. These are technically Kayla's staff. If you now look at the roster and pick 10, which obviously was this one, Ellie and Denny are in the canteen. Ellie has been in there, twice? And Denny has never volunteered. So, and I've been now put on the store. The only volunteer was who has worked every day for months, and the only volunteer who knows how to use the till besides Kayla. Denny says one thing and does another as usual. I volunteer 5 days a week for almost a year to Lazy Ellie's only 2 days this year. Well, that year. Sorry. So, anyway. Read it, pause it, whatever. Here we go on to the next picture. 11. What part am I here? It says, Ian then asked why then is Benny on the store rather than in canteen when she is at the canteen every day. And of course, who pipes up? Yes, Michael, saying, I believe the store and donations being collected was a task that yourself and Benny took ownership of, mate. And that may be why. No, not... Oh, sorry. Mr. Know All Nothing is wrong yet again. Donations were dropped off at the canteen, not to us personally. There's the rest of the comment there. Denny again sends a message. All right, let's have a look. All right, so there's her message. Saying, I have had the relevant and appropriate discussion already, and this is the final roster. We cannot take staff volunteers away from their normal rostered days on. Well, fuck. What happened? You know? From every day of the week in a canteen to what? Now kicked out? Okay. But, yeah, we couldn't be in the canteen. We weren't allowed to because we weren't staff, even though we were there every day of the bloody week. Every day. Alright, so the next pic. Let's have a look here. She's asking Kayla to verify, right? This is, I don't know what this is. Let's see. Kayla confirms she wants to go with the new roster. Then says if any problem, she can just grab people off the stores. So this would then leave the stores short. Denny didn't stick to the roster as she never in the canteen. She couldn't leave all the attention she was getting while dressed as a hooker and standing with the boys at the barbecue. You'll see. Alright, now, Denny says this to me. Denny's now saying that she can trust me to be on the stores and is now worried about the volunteers on the stores as we do not know them from a bar of soap and doesn't want to take any chances. So 6-7 months being an executive and not bothering to meet new parents to invite, but takes the president role and continues to ignore all volunteers, which are just like her, but she can't trust them. So if only Denny took the time to know the volunteers like I did, These ladies are wonderful parents. I was happy to stand by them. I don't think anyone should say such crap about volunteers, no matter what. Very disrespectful. These mothers volunteering on the stores were amazing, wonderful ladies. The 31st of August, I request a meeting after this event with Kayla included, as it seems no one understands their position. I also said I'm happy to wait till next meeting when Craig joins the team. As previously mentioned, all three of us agreed that it would be great if Craig could join the exec. Then out of the blue, Danny then puts this on the floor. Oh, that's right, she's been bum chumming with Michael now, so this now pops up, right? So the floor will be open to all at the P&C meeting for nominations for the second VP. We cannot just place anyone in roles as an executive team like last meeting. But this comment from Denny will make more sense in the P&C meeting. If you remember, yet back in July when the president's role was available, Denny suggests putting the P&C position in the committee chat and not on Facebook, and also didn't think the world needs to know about re-voting for members. This was because she wanted the role as president, so she blocked me from posting it out for everyone to have a chance. Father's Day comes around. Mr. Michael, or Mr. Wonderful, so he thinks, organised to be at the school at 7:30 to set up the marquee, the barbecues for the Father's Day, as he's part of the event committee. You know, that's his line. That's where he should have been, only. So, Ian, at 7:30, Ian is at the school helping Tony, who is the school maintenance guy, set up the tables and barbecues, and also got all the sausages out of the freezers to defrost. So at 8:05, Ian says, "Hi, I have the barbecue tables and chairs out ready to go, just waiting on Nick to set up. Not sure where he is though." So Michael finally arrives to set up the marquee almost 40 minutes late and sends a photo of the marquee. Not sure why he did it, but he worked it out. Oh, but we worked out it was to take credit for Ian's work. Here he is posting the picture. You know, Ian's just done all of this and he's asking where everybody is. Now, Ian had to go to work. As you guys know, he is the lollipop man for the school crossing guard. So 8:15 to 9:15, he's working. So when Ian left at 8:05 and then arrived back at the barbecue to finish work with Michael and Craig there also at the barbecue as they were rostered there. Michael asked Ian, "Where have you been?" Ian said, "Here. He was here at 7:30 as planned, but Mick did not believe him. Then said, 'You can't wear that costume at the barbecue.' He wore Deadpool costume for the book week, like he has done for other parades and whatever else has happened at the school." Michael told Ian to go home and change. Ian said no, and then Ian went and helped out at the Father's Day stall instead. He wasn't going to stand there and take his crap. We were all assigned to our places as per Denny, Ellie, Michael and Kayla's new roster, but with problems with Michael on the barbecue, Ian went to the stores. So pick 16. Alright guys. Now, this one here is Mel, as she was mentioned in the previous. This one's Kayla, as you know. This is our slutty president, and this is our sleazy, Mr. Good Guy, whatever you want to call it, Michael. Alright, so, Denny put herself in the canteen, but couldn't get enough attention. So, she went to the barbecue instead. Why? A picture says 1,000 words. As you can look at her costume, you understand. Now, the canteen is down one person, being Denny. Then a few hours later, lazy Ellie leaves. So they're now too short in the canteen on the busiest day. Even though they would have they wouldn't have been any help in the first place. So Kayla had now had to call on me to help her in the canteen, to help her out. It was second break, and it was the busiest part. Ian also came in to help in the canteen too, just to help the kids so that they could get served before the break was over. Denny was also now in the canteen, looking lost. Having no idea what to do, Michael then comes in the canteen, but just to talk to Denny. So we had two useless people in canteen, not helping, and in the way of the rush of trying to serve the kids their lunch. So as you can see, it's okay to have people in the canteen in the way on busy days, but it's not okay to be in the canteen to work on busy days, as they complain about too many in canteen because of Lazy Ellie's input of not wanting us around. Or was it really Kayla? We were always a target after Michael joined the events committee, with looking for stupid reasons that didn't exist to have their way and remove the people who actually were there to help and not stand there and look dumb taking credit for others' work. Michael, in my opinion, with others agreeing, is really sleazy, and with an attitude of thinking he's better than everyone around him, but worse with women around him. He disgusts me. He makes me feel very uncomfortable. I even told the school principal. He knew what I was on about. Anyway, we watched him on how he acted around Denny, so we saw how she melted in Michael's aura, which allowed questions on their relationship by the other parents that watched their behaviour at the Father's Day barbecue. I did tell one parent to put in a complaint if she was uncomfortable watching them. Evidence provided, but you'll probably see that a little bit further on. Ellie has to be the laziest person we have ever met when it comes to volunteers. I really don't understand why she bothered, as she's completely useless in canteen. During the Father's Day event barbecue, it was also book week at school with a costume parade, so that was the reason why we all dressed up. All staff and volunteers at the school dressed except for Mick, Ellie and Craig. Denny was wearing this slutty Batman costume, as you can see in the picture, for the barbecue next to Mick. Even though Ian could not wear his costume, I guess Ian wasn't showing enough leg for Mick's liking. This costume Denny wore is something that you would wear at an adult's party, not a primary school book week event, as you can see in the pic. Father's Day was like a disaster compared to Mother's Day. There was not enough items for the school kids to buy, as Denny decided not to purchase items. Denny thought we could just ask for donations, which were little, and also use the little amount that was left over from the previous Father's Day, along with anything she could find in the P&C storage cupboard. Then he also decided she wanted to sell the previous year's colour run sunglasses to the kids. The kids were so disappointed, as a lot of them missed out on buying items for their dads or loved ones. The event committee thought spending money on gift vouchers at the barbecue would be better. This event was more for the school kids than the parents, really. These stores give the kids the opportunity to buy things that they chose for their dads. For some kids, it was their only chance to buy something. Some of these poor kids only got to buy crappy plastic sunglasses that were used for the colour fun run. The barbecue and stores have now finished. At the end of Father's Day event, Denny took the lock box with all the takings from the event and counted the money at the school front office. Denny did not count it in front of the other executives either. Benny or Ian, as per procedure as takings, must be counted in front of other executives and verified. Then 2 executive signatures are required for counting to avoid errors. Next here. Alright, so we had an issue. I can't read it out. We're losing time. So Denny again just doing her own thing and not following procedures and upsetting the school staff. Denny then taped the lockbox as she did not have a key, but the problem was that she taped the back of the lockbox instead of the front, so the lockbox was still open with all the money in it. I'll show you the rest of that part. So we could not believe how dumb Denny was, really, for doing this. As you remember, and I'll go to the next part because it was continued, so I'm not reading it out. Read it, pause it, whatever. So if you remember, she put me on the stores for not trusting volunteers with money, but here she is counting it wherever she feels like it, and left it wide open and went about her day. There is the rest of it. You would think she would have double-checked it or wrapped the tape around the whole box. This is why we have procedures in place. But as you know, Denny doesn't like procedures or rules except when it's her rules. So when me and Ian collected the lockbox from the office, the school was not happy, as the school is not meant to hold more than 500 in their safe as procedure. There's the rest of it, and then there's Denny's. I don't know if you needed it blown up a bit more. Denny says everyone was aware the box had been taken to the office. Well, we did not know this. We knew nothing at all. Alright, so after counting the money, she had a figure of 1,620. Right, so here we are asking. Now I'm going to end it here for a second. The video is getting a bit too long, so I'm going to come back with the second half. Back in a minute.